Hey guys, we're back outside today. This is actually going to be a different video than usual. This day, I just needed to get outside and be in the garden, be outside, but sometimes life, as we say, life is lifing. And I was having one of those days where life and life stressors and different drama were kind of getting to me. And so I was thinking about what I wanted to do, and I know I wanted to go outside, be outside in the garden, and, help myself calm down and just relax a little bit. There were other things that I could have been doing outside, other projects that needed to get done, but on this day I said, let me just go outside, drink another coffee, and do something a little bit more relaxing. So, all I'm doing for this day, for this project, is doing some maintenance in the soft landing garden bed. There's been some things that have been growing up through the cardboard and through the soil that I know I didn't want in this area, particularly some grasses, but I still stand by the cardboard method. Definitely, if you're doing a larger area, there's different methods that you can do to kill different grasses and weeds that you might have in the area, but I've really liked it. There are some grass that does come up, and again, different plants that may or may not actually be weeds, but plants that I don't necessarily want in this area. So I'm just taking this day to pull those out. You guys can see that the plants that we put in the soft landing garden bed are really growing up and starting to thrive, which is really exciting. I'm really excited to see what this garden bed is going to look like next year. So I'm just doing a little bit of maintenance, taking out some things that I don't want to be in this area. I'm not making myself crazy. If there's something there that is obvious to me that I don't want, I take it out. If I was unsure of what it was, I just left it alone. Won't be a big deal. I can decide later on if it's something that I want to take out. And I've got to say, this really did the trick. I really felt so much better after spending some time outside, just much more chill and zen. Initially, I thought I was going to listen to some music or maybe an audiobook, and you'll see that I did put in my headphones at one point because I did start to do that, but then I stopped. Usually, when I'm outside, I try and let that be my unplugged time. This is the time where I actually usually don't listen to music or an audiobook or a podcast when I'm outside doing my gardening. I started doing that a few years ago because I realized, I think like a lot of people, I was having a lot of trouble unplugging. It was really hard to do anything without having some kind of noise around. I always had to have a podcast or a YouTube or just something that was on to distract me from my own thoughts. And I realized this probably isn't healthy. So I decided to make my time when I'm outside a time where I'm completely unplugged and I don't do anything that's going to distract myself from my own thoughts. Now, to be honest, in the beginning, that was actually a little bit difficult. You know how our brains are when there's nothing to distract, start ruminating over things that did wrong, said wrong, worry, anxiety over things that may or may not even be in our control. But I guess I don't really do meditation, but I have done it, done a couple of sessions in the past. And so I did understand the concept of I can't necessarily suppress these thoughts, but I can let them enter my mind and then push them away and not overly dwell on them. And so that's what I tend to do. If I get a negative thought or something that's causing me anxiety, I acknowledge it, I see that it's there, but I sort of gently push it away. So now, actually, it's pretty easy for me to be outside for hours at a time, working in the garden and not need anything to distract myself. So, although I did put some headphones in because I was thinking at first, this is a tedious task and maybe I do want to listen to an audiobook or something like that. And I do sometimes, right? Sometimes you do need a little bit of that distraction, but I actually found that I was able to get myself into a much calmer and zen place without needing the noise or distraction of anything else other than what I was hearing while I was outside. So, what you see me doing here is earlier in that day, I had gone to a local garden center that I like a lot because they have a pretty decent native plant section. So I go there to get some native plants, and I found some, I don't know if I'm pronouncing them correctly, but I believe it's celandine poppy. I got four of those because that was all they had. And I also got one wild ginger, also because that was all they had. I'll probably try and find some more wild ginger just so I can help fill out that area as well. But I got those to add to the soft landing garden bed. You guys already know that the plan for this area is that it's supposed to be almost all native plants in this area. I say almost all because I did add three hellebores to the area right under the bird bath. But other than that, this entire area is full of native plants. So I just got those in, and you'll see at some point the lighting is going to change because I realized as I was digging the holes to put these plants in that if I didn't stop right that second, I was going to be late for my evening shift. So I basically dug most of the holes and then realized I needed to stop immediately and get cleaned up very quickly and get myself to work. So this project actually ended up taking me 2 days, but as I said before, this whole project really served its purpose. I was able to be outside and get myself in a better headspace and get myself a little bit more zen. So I really enjoyed this project overall. And yes, I will say that most of the time, I should say pretty much the majority of the time that I'm using the auger, I try to have my boots on. I think it is a little bit dangerous for me to be using the auger with just my flip-flops on, but that was sort of the mood of the day. I was just very casual, kind of being very chill. So I would say this is another one of those times where I say, watch what I do, but don't do what I do. I think it is much safer to use augers when you have closed toed and potentially hard toed shoes on as well. I also realized that at some point I need to make the investment and get some larger augers. I bought the two that I have. This one, I don't know the inches off the top of my head, but I like this one because you can stand up. This is actually Laura's auger. And I have another one where the diameter is bigger, but I'd have to be down on the floor, down on the ground to use that one. But eventually, I do need to get the augers that are larger diameter so that I can plant bigger and bigger things and basically make it easier on myself. But that will be a bit of an investment because to do so, I have to get a more powerful drill as well. So it's a little bit more money than I want to be spending right now, but it's definitely on the list of tools that I think will be really helpful and something that I want to invest in. So I might look into it next year. For the time being, though, the things that I have do the job, even if they aren't as efficient as they could be. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I'm just refilling the bird bath here and then I'm going to get all of these plants watered in. Thanks for coming along on this video. I know it's different than my usual video, so let me know down below what you think of this style of video. Maybe it's something that you guys would like to see me do again. Let me know down in the comments if you find yourself using your time outside or your time in your garden as part of your mental health or a therapy session. I know that gardening definitely does that for me, and I hope you guys also have that experience as well because I do find it really helpful. So thanks for coming along as usual, guys, as we get a little wilder outside. And as always, I hope you get a chance to get outside and enjoy your garden. Until next time, guys, bye.